that relates to uh, social. Hello, am I audible? Are you able to listen me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this subject, the paper particularly, uh, the MPSE-4 of your MA syllabus postgraduate course, that is MPSE-4, which that deals with mainly social and political thought in modern India. So you will be in. There are uh, some 16 chapters. I hope 16 chapters, and yes, and you have four constituents classes you have to cover, because see, this is not a regular class, and uh, this is a doubt clearing sort of counseling sort of things, and we have to cover four chapters units in each class, and you will be taught, basically you'll be given a broad idea spectrum of the whole, the ideas enshrined in each unit. So, social and political thought in modern India. So, prior to, so there are the chapters which covers. Have you gone through have you gone through the entire syllabus of this particular? Hello, like 15 units are there. So the content, if you go by content, so you have to cover 15 units in this particular course, title entitled uh, uh, Social and Political Thought in Modern India. In Unit 1, it covers pre-modern social, religious, political thought in India, the diverse strands. And in Unit 2, uh, you have Orientalist discourse and colonial modernity. In Unit 3, have you gone through it? Have you had a look on it? Hello? Have you got the study material? Have you
Yes, sir.
received it? Okay. So altogether there are 15 units. In, and today we shall be dealing with major 4 units of the deductive issues chapters. Deductive issues, Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4. So remember, that is, we'll be dealing with pre-modern socio-political, religious political thought in India, the diverse strand, Orientalist discourse and colonial modernity, silent features of modern Indian political thought, early nationalist responses like Raja Raman Roy, the Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Dayanand Saraswati, and Jyotiba Phule. So, as I have already told you, that you know, as you are assigned this particular subject course title is destined to with the objective to disseminate knowledge on modern Indian political and social and political thought. But it is very much urgent to understand the modern Indian political thought. It is essential to have a broad view of the historical process through which modern polity has emerged. So unless until the in the chronological past, the uh, so you cannot have a comprehensive understanding or clarity on the present stature under the present dictum. So so it is very much essential to understand what are the processes, the the formation of ideas of social and political thought in prior to you know, modern Indian political and social thought, social and political thought. See, this is a, you know, is a transition. So you have to take back the chronological order, the evolution of social and political thought prior to the modern Indian political thought in basically the ancient Indian social and political thought. So, so this is a sort of one of the leading historian of India, Professor Ramila Thapar, in his Hidden Island Treasure, one of the classic work, History and Beyond. Professor Thapar explains how the social and political thought in modern India originated or sprang from, evolved from, it is a transition from its preceding social and political conditions of the ancient time. And Professor Thapar explains the transition from how the modern social and political thought in India is a transition from lineage society to the state. Today, and it is altogether order. Uh, if you look at the whole specificity, uh, organic linkage, has its organic linkage to its traditional social and political structure and social and political tradition, social tradition and political tradition, which Thapar's uh, Professor Thapar has best explained in his Hidden Island Treasure, a classic work, History and Beyond. Then, if the modern state system is a historical development of the traditional social and political practices, as Thapar rightly explains, from a lineage society, the state evolved to a from stage and in modern. Then, uh, then what is a lineage society? Can anyone tell me what is a lineage society? Yes, please feel free because this is not a normal classroom. We'll have an interactive dialogue, and you see, you must be given my number by the IGNOU authority. So beyond beyond the classroom, this this uh, online classroom, we can also discuss. Anywhere you can ask your doubt, raise your doubt, and ask questions relating your to clarify anytime. Because this is not sufficient. This is not sufficient to get detail into this because 2 hours is too short to cover 4 units, as one unit requires itself more than 2 hours. Anyway, so can anyone tell me what is a lineage society in the traditional before prior to this transformation in modern India? In Indian context, what is the lineage society or Thapar explains? Anyone? Please, please feel free. Uh, Hello, are you able to listen me? Anyway, so a linear society uh, is actually the basic unit, or the extended family. A basic unity is designated as the extended family under control of the eldest male member. It is the first, prior to the formation of the pastoral society. Prior to the formation of pastoral society, the lineage society existed, and in a lineage society, it is basically a clan-based, and uh, there is genealogical relations. It binded upon the genealogical relation through kinship and rituals. The chief male chieftain controls the society and exercises his authority over the clans. Then that lineage society transforms gradually from to pastoral and pastoral to peasant, and with the growth of population, you know, with the growth of population and requirements, the basic requirements of the people, the pastoral society also changed into new modern system. Remember, uh, Indian social and political tradition never runs in vacuum. Unlike the Greek civilization, Plato and Aristotle, in Indian social and political tradition, we have parallel, Manu, Kautilya, and great scholars of eminence, those who have substantially contributed to the social and political tradition of India, and said, the concept of monarchy, republicanism, council of ministers, statecraft. So these are the concept which also very much well spoken by or the Indian scholars, Manu and Kautilya and so on and so on. Yeah. When as Ramila Thapar well explains, rightly pointed out that with the growth of population and classes between groups of people in pastoral society, when from transition to that uh, lineage society to pastoral, and from pastoral to uh, modern state system, how it expanded, the extended family system also, when with the growth of population and classes between groups of people, the need was felt for an authority who would provide the required protection to his people and whose order will be obeyed out. So this led to with the led to the modern emergence of state and the art of governance came into existence. So this situation, the exigency demanded with the growth of population and classes between groups of the you know pre-pastoral society to pastoral to uh, this agricultural society, and that gradually transforms to modern society with the exigency of the situation demanded for a authority and a political units entity which can provide them protection, safe and right to safeguard their life and protect their life and their property. This was well spoken by the contractualist also. Hobbes' law also in Western parlance, like you know, the state came into existence not out of new oblivion. The state came to do the bare need of human. Aristotle also spoken, well spoken, has also categorical stated. State came into existence and for the basic need of human life and continue to exist for the sake of good life. Basic need of the human society, the state came into existence and it continued to exist for the sake of good life. Good life means the concept of welfareism, welfare, human welfare also added, and it became the major role, duty of the state to protect life and liberty, life and property of individual with a welfare orientation. Or keeping in this in mind, if we look at our past, starting from Vedic society till the establishment of British rule, India passed through various phases as we have gone to different states. From traditional, pastoral agricultural society, ancient Indian social and political society, to the medieval, when the Islamic thought, like you have the, in tradition, the Hindu dimension, Arthashastra, Manusmriti, and the medieval period, like the Islamic scholars, works like Fatwa-i Jihandari and in Akbari. These also provided Islamic political tradition, and finally, that the relation between religion and state in India also well explained. So, so now the major contention is the shift from pastoral to peasant economy, population growth, social and cultural heterogeneity, along with other factors, led to the emergence of state system. In the opinion of Pramila Thapar, as I have quoted so many times in the right from, the extensive trade, the decline of political elite, and democratic process led to the change towards a state system. So this is very underlined. I underline it, Thapar's statement, Thapar's categorization, that extensive trade. So because, with change of nomenclature, individual need, so that uh, there was also need of the need of the time, need of the situation. So uh, the people wanted, the community wanted more and more, you know, interaction with more and more interaction. So the trade between communities also extended, and the traditional political elite declined with the decline of traditional political elite, and democratic process with the evolving of the democratic temperament, spirit, and ideas. Also, that was became a major hindrance, obstacle, and a barricade to the continued uh, lineage, so lineage society, and thus, and there was transition from one after another, one after another state of phases of development, and ultimately led to the formation of state. And the modern state, you see, the in ancient time there is uh, the the uh, the sovereignty and the state system were well founded with the, you know the sovereignty, the sovereign as the divine origin, sovereign, the authority to rule with a divine origin, like the origin of kinship, divine origin of kinship, or as I have already told you, that social contract, the state came into existence, the basic need of the people, and surrender of natural rights, and a control of like the anyway, but the divine origin of kinship led to the state, as in Mahabharata. Uh, so because of the uh, concept in Mahabharata that speaks about uh, the small fishes becoming prey to the big fishes. So, like in traditional society, sovereign system or trivial state formation system. So these practices were there was there was no virtual justice. People, uh, the people, those who were under the control of the authority, of the lineage authority, of the authority under pastoral society or agricultural economy. So, uh, agricultural society. So, when they gradually they were fallen prey to, so they resisted, opposed, and they had a dissent to the authority. So voice of dissent also came into existence to the state system. And uh, there are the when the state concept was emerged from the traditional community lineage system to state system. So the entire state system was founded with eight major constituents, seven major constituents. Really, the state, the seven pillars of the state are the constituents of the state system. First, the first requirement for the state, Swamin or the sovereign, Amatya or the officials, Janapada or the territory, Durga or the fort, Kosa or the treasury, Danda or the army, Mitra or the allies. So the state, the modern, the modern state, from its traditional community of living and came into existence, uh, came into existence with the state system, complete state system, and the state system, what evolved after the ancient period, right from. There are seven major elements or constituent parts of the state. The state which attributed even the Swamin or the sovereign. Sovereign means those who has the power attributed the quality to rule. Sovereign with the authority to control the masses, the community of people. Then the second constituent part of the state was Amatya, the officials through whom through whom the sovereign will rule over the people and administer justice, will govern the society. And one of the major ingredients of the state, the modern state, I mean, the state in the ancient time, was the Janapada, the territory. Territory, because there was required, a territory was essentially required for the, for a state. Like see, in political, at the beginning, in the initial stage of your political science, at the plus two level, you have taught that elements. So, like these are the elements of state. Like Janapada, because without a definite territory, you cannot have a state. Territory is
Sir, voice not clear.
Sir, voice mute ହେଇଯାଇଛି.
Actually, I'm away from Bhubaneswar due to the death of a friend. So I supposed to shift the class to another because there is some internet issue here. Anyway, I'm sorry. So please kindly collect my number or you can write down. So any doubt we are teaching, we can also. Uh, so you people are coming to IGNO? Because I am very much nearby IGNO, that close to council office.
No, sir.
So
I'm not
yeah.
No,
attending
sir.
class.
We are very different side of.
Oh, I see. So then it's all right. You take my number and you go through the chapter units of today's class. 4 units, and you raise any doubt, n number of doubts, and we can clarify over. But probably because right now I am in evaluation. I am a chief examiner in one of the leading examination evaluation center. So so even today I absent because of death of my friend. So I'm away from Bhubaneswar. Anyway, but after 5 o'clock, so because otherwise after 3 to 4 o'clock also you can raise questions and ask me over phone, and I can doubt the clear. But today I may be pardon. I'm so sorry. Here lot of internet issues. Anyway, but in between there is a fluctuation. Because in my home I have a laptop, so it is better to say. I could have shared you the next class where the PowerPoint. So yeah, explains. I'll try to, because tomorrow I'll be reaching Bhubaneswar. I'll try out to give you a comprehensive on that. But is it audible? Little bit clear? No.
Sir
Hello.
is cracking your voice. Sir, cracking voice.
Oh, yes. That I informed to IGNO, because since I'm in a remotest pocket of this Kendrapada district because of my death of my friend. So there will be internet issue, and uh, but initially it was clear.
Yes,
Initially,
sir.
yeah. So that is fluctuation. Internet issues is there. Uh, So, I mean, I was, telling you about the major components, the ingredients in the constituent parts, and, what do you say exactly, uh, uh, the important elements of the traditional state formation. Like, as I have told you, there is for the formation of state, for the preservance and continuance of state, for a state, uh, there is a need of a sovereign. The person, the sovereign who rule the masses and the community of people. And sovereign means that means the ruler, and the subjects of the community of people are the ruled. So, this is the swamin. In traditional political society, there is sovereign. The state had the 7 major components and elements. So the Swamin is one of the important aspect of the state, the dominant issues. And next to, there is a need of a Amatyas or the officials who will assist the sovereign to govern the society or the community of people. Next, Janapada or the territory. Without territory, as you have already read it well, you know, political science +2 stage, at the intermediate stage. So, uh, elements of state. So, territory, the Janapada, the territory is a primordial element, a major of the state. Without a prescribed territory, a definite territory, so visualizing a state is a misnomer. It's completely incomplete. Cannot look at. So then next is a Durga or the fort, because to protect the territory and the sovereign to rule without any external aggression or intervention. So have to make a defense system more viable and effective. So it is Durga or the fort to which the security and safety of the state, the people and the state could be well added. So this is also Durga is needed. Kosa or the treasury for the function of the state, for the continuance, sustenance of the state, and how the governance will cater to the community of the people to the bottom line. So there is need of finance. The Kosa is also very important. Danda, and Danda the army, and so not exactly the Naya system and the Danda system are the different, and there is the community of defense mechanism. The army has to assist both to administer justice at the community level and at the for the safety and security of the state also. Mitra of the allies, the state, the swamin or the authority and the sovereign in order to uh, can we just will it be okay if we are is it getting some problem technical snacks because of the sharing the video?
Sir,
Is it a
actually, you're
problem?
not audible properly.
Oh my god.
Sir, once again say.
Okay. So actually, can we just switch up the video so that it could be video may be problem. It's creating a problem. Okay. I'll be just switching up the video. Just tell me whether it is clear or not. Yeah. So I was telling you about the seven elements, seven components of the state. The Swamin, the sovereign, Amartya or the officials, Janapada or the territory, Durga or the fort, Kosa or the treasury, Tanda or the army, Mitra or the allies. Because the last point I was discussing, is it clear? Is it audible now? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think video might be creating a problem that I could.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So, so these are the seven components of the state in which looking at the state structure, seven components of the state structure, which in the ancient political, all founded in ancient and social and political thought of the ancient Indian political thought. And you see, looking at this state structure, you know, you will find a similar resemblance, a similar, resemblance, and with the components of state functioning, state formation in the modern state. See, in the ancient uh, the ancient political writings and of Kautilya's Manusmriti, Kautilya's Arthashastra, they give the essence of political authority. They well speaks about the essence of the political authority. There will be, you know, there is a both Kautilya talks of monarch, the a very like Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. Hobbes, Locke talked about a Leviathan because since the society, the people are chaotic, are and more prone to disorder. You know, the year Hobbes born, Hobbes, the year Hobbes in his Leviathan. Hobbes, the great hidden island treasure Leviathan, Hobbes' opening remark, opening statement, opening writings of talks in the year Spanish Armada, my mother gave birth to twins, Pure and me. That means then that made tempted Hobbes to write about a strong authority, sovereign Leviathan. So here also Monu also well talked, spoken about. When the people, with the expansion of community and with the growth of population and clashes between communities, so the society became more chaotic and disorder. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes,
audible now?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Properly audible.
Yes,
I
sir.
think the video might be creating okay problem that. So so this This, when the Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, the contractarians, the contractualists, well talked about the strong Leviathan. I mean, social contract, but in the sovereign to be absolute, original, indestructible. In the modern Western thought also very much, interlinkage with the ancient Indian political thought of Manu and Kautilya. And as I have told you, in Manusmriti, Manu strongly advocated for a political authority. Manu was of the opinion that absence of political authority, there would be disorder in society. So society people are essentially bad and more prone to evil. This is a Hobbesian person. And a Hobbesian notion also very much well recognized and recognized by the ancient political thinkers of India, ancient political thinkers, Manu and Kautilya. So people in order to be, governed, society in order to well govern, and people in order to be in order, to keep kept in order, there is need of a political authority, which Manu talked of, because since there is a disorder in society, in order to bring the people into order, the community of people in order, there is essentially requirement, need of a political authority. And this and uh, this particular view of Manu also very much acknowledge Manusmriti, is the dictum of Manusmriti. One renowned professor of India, Professor A. Appadurai, was a former professor of Jawaharlal Nehru University. I don't know whether Professor Appadurai is alive or not, but by the time I went to JNU, he had left. But he is a leading political scientist of India, Professor A. Appadurai. Indian political thinking, he has quoted also cited Manu's political authority, Manu's dictum on political authority. Manu was in favor of, Appadurai says, Manu was in favor of a social hierarchy and caste system, and his notion of justice was based on diverse customs and practices of different castes. He suggested that through the through the king derived his authority from God. So through the social structure, the king derives, this divine origin of kingship. This is again the divine origin, the theories of state, divine origin, historical theory, and contractual theory, and scientific theory, and many evolution theory of the state formation, how the state came into existence, how the state was formed. Various theories pertaining to the method came to existence, which was very much seen in the Manusmriti, and Manu taught of that though the king is a direct descendant of the God, is a representative of God on earth, uh, representative of God on earth to uh, govern the people and bring order in society, and the community of people and the society when became chaotic and disorder, God sent his representative to govern the people and the society. So Manusmriti talks of, and 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 Manu also talked though, and the the king, the authority, the political authority, the sovereign is a direct descent of God. But on earth, the king derives from his authority and guided by the Brahmins. The rational, and Manu also justified why the king should be guided by the Brahmins. The Brahmins are the this knowledgeable person, possesses knowledge and should rule. So though these are the Manu's construction of political authority, Manu's theory on sovereignty, and state, the governance of the king. But that is not final. Manusmriti was challenged. Manu's dictum was also challenged. and how it was rectified. Also, vehemently demand was criticized because of the, in a very blindly supporting and also promoting the Brahminical social order. So this is and Professor A. Appadurai in his book Indian Political Thinking also well founded. Manu prescribed the structure of state in terms of villages, districts, and provinces, which resembles our present day structure of administration. So my point is to tell you the modern state system, the modern state system, today we are witnessing the modern state system today we are witnessing the transcendented from its ancient past. And part of the writings and the political propositions and political theorization of, in ancient uh, Indian scholars and political thinkers like Manu, Kautilya, and uh, many other Indian in medieval periods will be discussing all that. So my point is to tell you the Manu prescribed the structure of the state. So this is basic from right from villages, districts, provinces, as the modern state system was. You know, although Aristotle speaks of, has talked of, family as the basic unit of the state. So the micro level, Aristotle talks of it is a extended, you know, uh, extended version of the family. Family by extension virtually, becomes a state. It is extended family structure system, and the state structure in the thinking of political thinking of Mano is very much witnessed today in contemporary our time, that the modern state system. Professor Appadurai, commenting on political ideas explained in the Manusmriti, has remarked that it is indeed astounding to know that very early in the development of the Indian political thought, the ideas of decentralization, welfare state, and public opinion are also clearly spelled out. See, the very see V.R. Mehta, another scholar political from Banaras Hindu University, sorry, Professor V.R. Mehta, in his Indian political thought, in his masterpiece, Indian Political Thought, categorizes, clearly says, it is indeed astounding to know that very early in the development of Indian political thought. So, what you are today we are talking of 73rd Constitutional Amendment. What about this? What is all about the 73rd Constitutional Amendment? Can anyone of you say? 73rd Constitutional Amendment.
Panchayat Raj, sir.
No, decentralization. Yes, Panchayat Raj, but decent devolution of power to the lower units, the bottom units of the administrative system. Okay, decentralization of the democratization and decentralization of the governance system of the administrative units from the below from bottom to the above. So my point is to tell you the concept of decentralization today in 1992 we the uh, power to the people through the local self-government are the rural areas, panchayat raj, and for the urban municipal and urban local bodies. Power to the people by devolving power to the people through process of decentralization, not the power to be concentrated at the top at the top center, but from it is a bottom up approach. Let the power flows not from the barrel of gun. Flows from the bottom line of the gram 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 panchayat, from the village, palli, you know, the rural assembly, the Gram Sabha, let the people from the bottom to plan for their development, to know about their welfare, to talk about their welfare, not the ivory tower, AC chambers policy of planning from the center, the Niti Aayog to do it. But let the village panchayat, the grassroots, grassroots democracy that is called. जो मो कहवा कथा जे ए जो आर यू कंफर्टेबल विथ ओडिया
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके
Yes, sir.
ओके नो इश्यू तो ତେଣୁ ମୋ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯୋଉ ଗଣତନ୍ତ୍ର ବିକେନ୍ଦ୍ରୀକରଣ କି ୱେଲଫେୟାର ଷ୍ଟେଟ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଆମେ ଜନମଙ୍ଗଳ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର କଥା କହୁଛନ୍ତି କି ଯୋଉ ଆପଣ ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ପବ୍ଲିକ ଓପିନିଅନ ଯେ ଏସବୁ ବିଷୟ ସେ ପ୍ରଫେସର ମେହେଟା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଏଗୁଡା କିଛି ନୂଆ ଜିନିଷ we are not talking of. This was very much existed and in the ancient Indian political thought and in the very much Manusmriti and Kautilya. Major components of political ideas and thought. What Kautilya is considered, Chanakya, Machiavelli. Have you heard of the name of Machiavelli?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Machiavelli is the first scientific thinker on political philosophy, on political theory, and first modern state uh, originated, evolved with the Machiavellian thought. So Chanakya also considered the Indian Machiavelli, and some people in Western society they call it, in Western, Machiavelli or the Indian Chanakya. Yeah. Some disruption is there because mobile is a major problem. You will have phone calls, so anyway. So my point is to tell you that in modern state system today in 21st century in a globalized world we are talking of power to the people, empowerment of the communities, empowerment of the community, empowerment of the you know those who are in the receiving end of the governance, the people at the bottom level. Say talk of whatever, adolescent empowerment, child empowerment, women empowerment, elderly empowerment, whatever, disabled empowerment, differently empowerment of a differently abled person. So these concepts are nothing new. You see, you are talking of today the globalized society, globalization. It was very much existed in our ancient Indian political thought. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The entire world, globe is a union of family. So, the complexity arises with the, division of with the emergence of modern state system. Division, territorial integration, and of division, all these things that is the modern state system, nation state system, and gradually when we are again getting square back, original. Because so my point here, so like Professor Thapar, A. Apadurai, B.R. Mehta, whatever books I have, I referred, because these, very eminent scholars, they talk well because the modern Indian political theory is basing on the premising upon the ancient Indian political thought, which are, is a transition. So the ideas, political ideas, social ideas are today we are witnessing nothing new. It was very much existed and it is just in a super fine manner, fine-tuned manner, we are present. Today we have, see though the internet, online, uh, like, uh, COVID has taught us a very good thing. Though COVID has a very is a major, what do you say, is a, has left a very bad precedent and the imprint upon the human survival and also human race. But COVID has taught a very good things, because today, because this hybrid mode, and this is the online mode education, online education has become accessible. And today, very major things also UGC also recognize the online system as a classroom transaction. As I recognize very much online system to teaching learning through online, because I was 5 years I was state nodal officer in director of higher secondary education on the online program. So uh, though I am basically a teacher, uh, but I was looking after the online education, the digital learning, the e-content development, all the things. So my point is to tell you, today we have reached in a cyber age where the ICT, information communication technology, you have, uh, it is not a wastage of time, but while I was, during the entire COVID time, I had organized, while I was General Secretary Odisha Political Science Association, I had organized some 8 webinars of inviting very world class scholars. My teacher from JNU who are in Manchester, Columbia, and Oxford, and you have the very big eminent academician top brass. So I've invited with the very good audience also very there was there. So on very large topic, very large amount of topic they spoken about. And, I invited Professor Kabiraj, I invited Professor Rajiv Bhargav, I've invited Kaushik Basu, I invited Monteng Singh Ahluwalia of the so they spoke. Monteng Singh Monteng spoke on this, federal governance, the economic federalism, COVID federalism. So how the economic, the center was ruling, rules the federal norms was violated. In the federal dichotomy was also disturbed during the COVID time with the excessive regimentation of the center. The horizontal center became virtually in the cooperative federalism was dismantled, and very coercive federalism and horizontal federalism was superimposed during the COVID time. Anyway, but my point is to tell you, uh, see, it is this is not a regular class, and because there will be, I cannot concentrate on one chapter, so because you have to interlink us with many things. Yeah. So my kind request to all of you, just read the units for this class, the first class money counseling. You have been asked, I have been told to cover 4 units. So practically it is not possible, but I am giving you in a brief idea, broad spectrum idea. So you read it and you can ask me over phone. And since you are from scattered, you are from, scattered over from scattered over territories, so it's not possible. Earlier I was taking classes in IGNO. IGNO should have one interactive class, one or two interactive classes. I'll propose them, because you know, see, online this is a single track, so you will not be in a classroom, eye contact and interaction. So your doubts will be clarified. So, but here it's a unilinear process, single track, one-way traffic sort of thing. Because whatever I'm telling, you have to react, whether I am talking sense or nonsense. But in a classroom, you'll be very, you can get a scope to immediately. This is not, sir, we're not able to communicate on this. Anyway, so my point is to tell you that the modern, whatever the very dynamic concept like decentralization, welfare state, public opinion, you see in democracy, public opinion, public opinion is the sine qua non of democracy. Democracy, in order to be translated into reality, need to be backed by public opinion. Unless only the public have a voice of dissent against the. See, I tell you, in one of my paper in Odisha governance, I wrote a paper on from electoral democracy to electoral electoral autocracy. So from electoral democracy to electoral autocracy, the 25 years governance in Odisha under the BJD dispensation. So that was criticized. Many people told that. So I formulated ideas. So my point is to tell you that there should be, you know, voice of dissent, public opinion. Wait, you see, it's a reflection. What is the assembly, the parliament? These are nothing but these reflections of public opinion. So what people directs them, the representative of the people in the state assembly or the central parliament, they echo the sentiments, the opinion of the people in the floor of the house. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, then we will continue. So this is the thing. So my point is to tell you, uh, ancient. This is the ancient state system, which Manusmriti, Manus, political proposition, or Kautilya. If you find, as I have already told you, uh, Kautilya's Arthashastra is a hidden island treasure. A treatise on the many conflicting and essential components of political thinking. Kautilya, uh, I'm sorry because lot of disruption, so many calls. Because since I am away from Bhubaneswar, I am also chief examiner in Kamala Nehru Women's College. So the assistant examiners are also making call. Anyway, I was not in a position to take the class. I approached the, I know, Tapan Babu, who is managing the, who is in the helm of affair and managing the entire course at the, desk clerk. So, no, sir, this cannot be stopped. You just take the class. So, initially I was frightened. So, given the poor internet connection here in the remotest pocket, it may be a problem. Anyway, but now, so Kautilya, uh, uh, Kautilya talks about, so far the Kautilya talked about the sovereign, the ruler, is a public servant. We are talking with the IS officer, OS officer today, the with the Amatyas, the officials. We talked about we talked about the Santi Parva Mahabharata, the seven constituents of state, which I was telling you, Swami, Amatya, Janapada, Durga, Kosha, Danda, Mitra. So the even Kautilya talked about the officials and the Amatya, the sovereign, the king, as a slave of the people. And constitutional, the monarch is a constitutional slave. Kautilya talked of the advocated, the king or the monarch has to be abided by the constitutional nomenclature, norms and conditions of the society, and has to govern not as per his or her wish, but as per the wish of the people. So Kautilya denigrated his monarch as a constitutional slave. Virtually, the sovereign is the slave to the people. To rule, to govern the people does not mean in an anarchic manner. To exploit the people, to subjugate the people. But the primordial duty of the king or the ruler or the monarch is to rule not as per his wish, desire, but with the wish and desire of the people. So Kautilya, in the happiness of his subjects, lies the happiness of the king. Kautilya କହିଲେ ଯେ ପ୍ରଜାଙ୍କର ସୁଖରେ ହଉଛି ରାଜାର ସୁଖ। ରାଜା ସେତେବେଳେ ସୁଖୀ ହେଇପାରିବ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ ତାର ସମସ୍ତ ପ୍ରଜା ମାନେ ସୁଖରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ବା ସୁଖୀ ଅଛନ୍ତି। In their welfare, in his welfare, in their welfare, his welfare. That means ଯେତେବେଳେ ପ୍ରଜା ମାନଙ୍କର ମଙ୍ଗଳ ହଉଛି ସେତେବେଳେ ରାଜାର ମଙ୍ଗଳ ହବ। ତା ଅର୍ଥ କୌଟିଲ୍ୟ କହିବା ଅର୍ଥ ଯେ ମୁଁ କହିଦେଲି ଇଜ ଏ କନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନାଲ ସ୍ଲେଭ, ଗୋଟେ ସାମ୍ବିଧାନିକ କୃତ ଦାସ। ଆଜି କିନ୍ତୁ ଟୁଡେ ଇନ୍ ମଡର୍ନ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍, ସି ଟ୍ରମ୍ପ, ସି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ କେସ୍, ସି ଓଡ଼ିଶା କେସ୍ for 24 years. Or I can take the name of V.K. Karthikeyan Pandyan. Like Louis XVI, who talked about I am the state. ମୁଁ ହେଲି ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର। କିନ୍ତୁ ଦେଖ ଏବେ medieval period ରେ, modern period ରେ, ଆଜି today in 21st century, the political sovereign behaves dictatorially and subjugates and subordinates the people, the citizens and subjects. But thousands and thousands years back, the political treatise of Kautilya well speaks about the democratic tradition of political sovereignty. That the ruler, the king, the monarch is a constitutional slave. କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଜି ଲୋକର କିଛି ଜନମତ କିଛି ଲୋଡ଼ା ନାହିଁ। ଯୋଉମାନେ କଥା ହଉଛି କଣ, ଜଣେ ଠିକା କର୍ମଚାରୀ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ର 40 ବର୍ଷ ଚାକିରି କରିକି ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରକୁ, ଲୋକ, ସମାଜକୁ, ସରକାରଙ୍କୁ ତାକୁ କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ରିଟାୟାର୍ଡ କରୁଛି ଖାଲି ହାତରେ, ତାକୁ ଟଙ୍କା ଟେ ଦିଆଯାଉନି। କିନ୍ତୁ ମୋ କହିବା କଥା, କିନ୍ତୁ କୌଟିଲ୍ୟ ଏଇଟା କମ୍ପୋଜ କରିଥାନ୍ତି। ମୁଁ କାହିଁକି ଏଇ ଉଦାହରଣଟା ଦଉଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଦୁଃଖରେ ଯାଉଛି, ତାର ହଉଛି ସେ ଅସଲ ହାପିନେସ ତାର ସେଇଠି ସରିଗଲା। 40 ବର୍ଷ ଚାକିରି କଲା ୱିଦାଉଟ୍ ପେନସନ। କିନ୍ତୁ 4 ଦିନ ଜଣେ ଆସେମ୍ବଲିକୁ ଇଲେକ୍ଟେଡ ହେଲା କି ସରପଞ୍ଚ ହେଲା, ସିଏ ହେଲା ଲାଇଫ ଲଙ୍ଗ ପେନସନ ପାଇଲା। 4 days, the assembly dissolves in a month, and someone got elected, he or she is entitled to pension. But Kautilya political proposition strongly, vehemently opposed it. This is not, and against the detriment of the, is a detriment or dead against the welfare of the people. King will, there is no happiness of the monarch. Monarch never enjoy happiness. If the people, the subjects or the citizens are unhappy, the monarch is not in welfare condition. If the people, subject and citizens are not in a welfare situation, they are in subordination, they are in subjugation, they are in exploitative environment. So governance. So Kautilya made it clear, categorical. King, monarch is a constitutional slave. with the welfare of the people lies the welfare of the king. With the happiness of the people lies the happiness of the king. But today, in 21st century, the happiness of Donald Trump does not lie with the happiness of the American people. The happiness of Narendra Modi does not lie with the happiness of the Indian citizens. The happiness of the former Navin Patnaik, 24th or today's current present government, Mohan Maji, doesn't applies reciprocally to happiness of the people of Odisha. My point is to tell you, are you uh, uh, do, any issue? Do you catch it? And are you following?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. So we are
Yes,
little
sir.
bit going beyond our because you see political science. Aristotle once said the political science is the science of all sciences and master of all arts. It is supreme science because everything under the sun is within the scope and parameters of political science. So whatever you are talking today in modern state system that comes into within the gambit or the scope of the political science. So it is interrelated. When you are talking one subject, you have to, interdisciplinary way you have to explain and take into cognizance of that. Anyway, uh, uh, yeah. So I was telling, yes, another important concept which we himself but pleases his subjects. uh, the king shall consider as good not what pleases himself, but what pleases his subjects. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଗଲା କଣ ଯେ ରଜା ବା ରୁଲର ସବରେନ୍ ନିଜେ କହିବନି ଏଇଟା ମୁଁ ଭଲ କରିଛି ବୋଲି କନସିଡର କରିପାରିବନି ଯେ ଏଇଟା ଭଲ ମୁଁ ଯୋଉଟା କରୁଛି ଭଲ ଅନଲେସ୍ until it is certified the public ଯେପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଲୋକ ପ୍ରଜାମାନେ ନ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଏଇଟା ଭଲ ରାଜା କହିବା ଭଲଟା କାମ ନାହିଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଏଠି କଣ ଏଠି ବିଚ୍ୟୁତ ଘଟୁଛି କଣ ଏଠି ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆମର ପଲିଟିକାଲ ସଭରେନ୍ ମନ୍ କି ବାତରେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ଯୋଉଟା କହୁଛି ଠିକ କିନ୍ତୁ ଲୋକର ମନ୍ କି ବାତ ଅଫ ଦ ନଟ୍ ଦି ପିପଲ ମନ୍ କି ବାତ ଅଫ ଦ ରୁଲର my point I am here not to criticize anyone but this is the reality. So you have to understand the conflicting currents of the socio-political dynamics, issues, and the thinking that enshrined in the ancient political and social thought, which is a direct resemblance and reflection of the modern state system and our concepts. And yeah, so because we cannot happen, there will be one. I will teach you Kautilya separately. There is also one point. Will take much more time. Not teach exactly counseling means you have to very very uh, fast manner. You have to cover up many things. Anyway, uh, the Buddhist political literals suggests that monarchs should rule on the basis of the law of truth and righteousness. Again, apart from besides Manu and Kautilya, the Buddhist political tradition also made has made categorical and clear that कौन ना monarch को basis रे rule करिबो ना on the basis of law, truth and righteousness. Law, truth, सत्य, law, truth and righteousness. ଆଉ कौन ହେଲା ना should not the monarch should not allow any wrongdoing in his kingdom and should look after the poor. See, Buddhist political tradition ଟିକେ ଆଗକୁ ଯାଇକି ଆଉ ଦେଖିଲେ କଣ ଏଟା ହଉଛି କଣ ନା ସେଟା ହଉଛି ଜନ୍ ରଲ୍ଙ୍କ ନାଁ ଶୁଣିଛ के सुनिछ जॉन रॉल को ना? Theory of distributive justice, John Rawls. जो हमरो डेविड स्टोन जो अथॉरिटेटिव एलोकेशन ऑफ वैल्यूज इन सोसाइटी रॉयल्टी के आगु जाई कहले नाही सेठी वेलफेयर होनी जो जे पर्यंत द लास्ट पर्सन एट द बॉटम लाइन द रिमोटेस्ट पॉकेट is not touched upon, reaching the unreached, justice delivered at the doorsteps of the unreached person, distributive justice. जॉन रॉल कर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिव जस्टिस नेट रे मारी के पढ़िबो anyway yeah medieval समय रे ए जो किछि भी सेठी इस्लामिक स्कॉलर माने जो हमें प्रथमे कहूतिले मो इन द बिगिनिंग रे मु जते बळे ये करथिली रेफर करथिली फतवा आई जहांदारी आईनी ई अकबरी they also political thinking and social during also medieval time and so state and sovereign it is traditionally Indian ancient India of political thinking जे medieval India ର political thinking transcend ହେଇଛି କଣ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆସୁଛନ୍ତି ଇସଲାମ କୁ the Muslim political authority marked the beginning of the distinct phase in Indian political thought. Islamic political thought is centered around the teaching of Muhammad and belief. And the Islamic political thought was a shift from a contrast to the Vedantic philosophy, a contrast to the Vedantic philosophy of ancient Indian political tradition. And the Islamic political tradition believed Quran as the only and final authority. So the political structure in India was not based on the philosophy and the belief of a single text. Rather, various ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ କେବଳ ହିନ୍ଦୁତ୍ୱ political philosophy ରେ Indian political tradition based premises upon based upon no ମାନେ Indiaର political and social thinking and social and political system the intermixture is being monitored and also by so many religious thinking like Hindutva, Islam, Buddhist, Jainism, and yeah, when the Islamic political philosophy, they wanted to oh, they wanted to talk about the supremacy of Islam philosophy, and they wanted to project the state system according to the Islamic belief system. So Quran is considered the final authority, and the purpose of the state is to solve the Sharia. See, a shift from the Vedantic tradition to Islamic tradition, a big shift, a paradigm shift in the political and social thinking of ancient Indian thought to the medieval, to the Islam, that pronounced that purpose of the state is to solve the ideas of Islam. Based on the two authoritative texts written during the Muslim rule in India, Fatwa-i Jahandari and Ain-i Akabari, dealing with the nuances of governance, we can formulate our ideas. So, जो फतवा आई Jahandari and Ain Akbari, two major texts, Islamic political treatise and discoveries, well-founded political text on the about the governance and the state system. Jahandari, written by Khwaja Jauddin Barani, Khwaja Jauddin Barani, I have written on the Barani's philosophy for the Delhi University people. It is one chapter I have written in one on Barani's political philosophy, in which is the course as a part of the course for being managed the Delhi University undergraduate students in an edited book. So Barani's book, uh, Jahandari, in his book Jahandari, he elaborates the Sultanate on the basis of his earlier narrative. Barani's political ideas carry a sense of religious fanaticism. As I told in the beginning, the Islamic political tradition unilaterally declared the Quran is supreme and the state is run by the Sharia, rule of Sharia. So there is the ideas of the absolutism. So Barani's political philosophy is a religious, premised upon, based on religious fanaticism. Keeping in mind the fact Barani belonged to a period of when Islam was just making its ground in India, we may overlook this limitation of Barani's idea. Apart from this limitation, Barani's ideas related to kingship in medieval period are immense importance. Though Barani also similarly uh, talked about the king adopts to discharge his duties is justified so long as his aim is to service of religion. Barani attributed the entire political dictum to a religious sentiment. That means ସେ କହୁଛି ସେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ରାଜା ଉଚିତ ଶାସନ ଉଚିତ ମନେ ହବ ଯେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସିଏ ଧର୍ମକୁ ସେବା ଯୋଗେଇ ଆସୁଛି. Unless till the king uh, provides service to religion and the rule his duties is justified. The king's primary duty is to serve the religion. See again another divine origin kingship type. Our Vedantic tradition of traditional, Manusmritis and the Islamic Barani's political proposition also well founded in that religious fanaticism. But the thing is, when Barani wrote his masterpiece, Jahandari, Islam was just founding its, Islam was just gaining its momentum in India. It was not well founded. So prior to Islam took hold of India, the entire territory, major important territorial dispensation. Barani wrote the Jahandari. When Barani again talked of divine origin. Rajar କାମ ହେଲା ଧର୍ମକୁ ଯେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ପ୍ରୋଟେକ୍ସନ ଦଉଛି ସେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ନ୍ୟାୟରେ ଅଛି. ଠିକ ଅଛି. Barani's philosophy did not pronounce any people-centric governance, whereas Manusmriti and Kautilya's political proposition well founded in people-centered governance. According to Barani, it is duty of the sultans, before they have made up their minds about an enterprise, or policy and publish it among the people to reflect carefully on the likelihood of its success and failure as well as its effects on their position, on the religion and the state and the army, on the army. ପୌରାଣୀ ପୁଣି କହିଲେ କଣ ଯେ ରଜା କୋଉଠି କୋଉଠି ଗୋଟେ ପଲିସି କରିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ before formulating a policy the king has to look into କଣ ନା ସେ ତାର ସକ୍ସେସ ଫେଲିୟର କୁ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବ କୋଉ ବେସିସ ରେ ନା ଆगे ଦେଲା ପ୍ରାୟୋରିଟି ଧର୍ମ ରିଲିଜିୟନ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ଏବଂ ଧର୍ମ ଆଉ କଣ ନା ଯୋଉ ଆର୍ମି ତା ଯୋଉ defense establishment. So, to in a nutshell, Borani's philosophy, political proposition is well founded with Islamic bigotism, Islamic fanaticism, and Borani was not accepted as a democratic political philosophy. Borani's political philosophy lack democratic spirit and a people-centered, never touch upon the people-centered governance. ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ହଉଛି apart over and above ଯେ ସେ ଯଦିଓ ସିଏ ରାଜାକୁ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କ୍ଷମତା ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ବରାଣୀ ବରାଣୀ ଯଦିଓ ତାଙ୍କର ସୁଲତାନକୁ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କ୍ଷମତା ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ପନିଶମେଣ୍ଟ ଡେଥ ପନିଶମେଣ୍ଟ ଉପରେ ଯେ କିନ୍ତୁ in Hindu political philosophy, ancient Hindu political philosophy of Manu and Kautilya, they have never given absolute authority to the monarch, the king, to award death penalty. They have, their court decides. But Barani gives absolute authority to the Sultan to award death penalty. So, Abu Fazl, another political treatise, a text, political writings, Islamic political writings, Abul Fazal, in Akbari. ସେଠି ବି yeah, Abul Fazal also say when the time of reflection comes and the main sex of the prejudices of their education, the thread of the web of religion blindness break, and the eyes sees the glory of harmoniousness. Although some are enlightened, many would observe silence from fear of fanatics who lust for blood, but look like men. ଟିକେ Abul Fazl political philosophy is little bit pragmatic and democratic. It's a complete shift from Barani's political philosophy. Abul Fazl ଏଠି ଟିକେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଇନି ଏକବାରିରେ advocate the distribution works among various departments. Again, କୌଟିଲ୍ୟଙ୍କ ଭଳି Abul Fazlଙ୍କର ଇନି ଏକବାରି ଟେକ୍ସଟରେ ସେ ବି କହିଛନ୍ତି କଣ ନା governance system should be there should be unity of administration and governance system should be decentralized, not in a centralized bureaucracy. Yeah. ये तो ଆମେ ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା କଣ ସୋ ଇନ୍ ନଟ୍ ସେଲ୍ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ ପ୍ରଥମ ୟୁନିଟରେ ଆମେ ଆମର ପଢିଲେ ଆମେ pre-modern social, religious, political thought in India, the diverse times. ଏଠାରେ ଆମେ କଣ ବ୍ରଡଲି କଣ କଣ ଆମେ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ଚାହିଁଲେ ନା ଏଇ ୟୁନିଟରେ ତମକୁ ପ୍ରିସାଇଜଲି କୁହାଗଲା ଯେ we came to know about, we learn about the evolution of Indian political thought till the time of modern period. Modern period ପୂର୍ବରୁ ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ କହିଲି ଯେ transition right from the lineage society, a patriarchal head governing the community, lineage society, under the lineage society, till the modern state system. ଆମେ ଆଉ କଣ ଡିସ୍କସନ କଲେ ନା ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସ ଅଫ ଷ୍ଟେଟ, ଯେ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର କେମିତି ଆସିଲା, ଆଉ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଟେକ୍ସଟ ଯୋଉ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଫିଲୋସଫର୍ସ, intellectuals, scholars, authoritative scholars and thinkers, ସେମାନେ କଣ ତା ବିଷୟରେ ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଯେ ଯୋଉ ଡିଟେଲ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲେନ କଲେ about sovereign, ଯେ ରଜାର ବା ଶାସକର ଭୂମିକା କଣ in a democratic society, in a community of living society, the ruled and ruled relation, the ruler and ruled relation, the ruler and ruled relation, what should be the standing nomenclature under which Kautilya କହିଲେ ରାମରାଜ୍ୟ concept କୋଉଠୁ ଆସୁଛି? Ramachandra even did not spare his most, loving wife, dearest wife, for the sake of and happiness of the citizens and subjects. I think many have left, Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it not, are you not comfortable with the class?
No,
Hello?
sir. It's not.
Because so my phone number might be there in the displayed in the by the IGNO people. So you give a ring anytime and raise your doubt. You can say because yes. So in unit 1, you came to know about cutting across time. The dominant ideology of the state was to protect the interest of the people. As I have told, ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ସବୁ ଷ୍ଟେଜର right from the lineage till the so it is just କେମିତି ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ସ୍ୱାର୍ଥକୁ ରକ୍ଷା କରାଯାଇପାରିବ, ସବୁ ଦାର୍ଶନିକ, ଫିଲୋସୋଫର, social and political thinkers, they have advocated their ruler to be abided by the standing common nomenclature and rule regulation principles to followed by the monarch or the king or the ruler, which uh, can do justice to the people, and it is for the greater benefit and interest of the Orientalist discourse and colonial modernity. ଏଠି ଆମର କଣ ଯୋଉ Orientalist versus ମାନେ classical. Orientalist, you thinkers, ओरिएंटलिस्ट डिस्कोर्स एंड कॉलोनियल मॉडर्निटी आमे जो क्लासिक हमरो रोची दी न्यू studies in the US Edward Stuart's Orientalism ଆଉ जोटा कि nationalism and colonial modernity during the colonial imperialism, cultural spirit liberal ideas nationalism history and colonial knowledge ଏଇ ସବୁ ये जो माने डिबेट बिटवीन द ओरिएंटलिस्ट एंड डिस्कोर्स ऑन कॉलोनियल मॉडर्निटी विथ डिफरेंस कोन एथि कोन हमें कोन ए यूनिट 2 रे हमको हमको जानिबा को कोन हमें कोन जानिबा to understand the concept of orientalism and the question of modernity and its colonial roots in India. Though it's a new field relatively, ओरिएंटलिस्ट इनको ओरिएंटलिस्ट डिस्कोर्स जो माने कि हमरो कॉलोनियल पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफी कि बेसी सेल्फ इमेज गोटे आइडेंटिटी यूरोप आइडेंटिटी सुपर इम्पोजिशन कला एंड इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंटल ओरिएंटल अप्रोच देखिए कॉलोनियल मॉडर्निटी ऊपर जे कि के बेसी अपोज कले ये कले जे कॉलोनियल मॉडर्निटी जो पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफी बा सोशल एंड पॉलिटिकल मॉडर्निटी ऊपर जो कॉलोनियल ये ब्रिटिश साम्राज्यवाद समय जो इवॉल्व करा गला बा सुपर इम्पोज करा गला सेटा जे हमर बेसी इंडियन फाउंडेशन को केमी चैलेंज आउ नथिंग आनियो एटा जो कहूची जे एटा होची मोर पैरोकियल से मन क्लेम कले जे द वे वी लुक एट दैट वाज नॉट चेंज एंड नाउ चेंज तेणु जो न्यू गांधीयन क्रिटिक्स के रहिले Gandhian critics modernity is central in the role Ashish Nandi, Veena Das, Ashish Nandi होचंती से उड़े social great social thinker, and Veena Das and scholars माने किसी माने बंदना शिवा
Actually, sir, network problem. Audible.
rejection पर Ashish Nandi particularly the
Sir,
modern
actually,
state
voice
system,
to
while
bajauni.
the modern state system an inherent drive towards homogenization, towards cultural genocide, and the desire to reduce life to a few, easily definable
ସାର୍
and
ଭଏସ ଶୁଣା ଯାଉନି।
negotiable.
Sir, voice to bajauni. Hello? Hello?
हेलो
Hello, is
Sir,
it audible
sir,
now?
voice पूर सुबा जाउनी बिल्कुल भी कटी कटी
ଭଏସ
आसुची
ଶୁଣା
पूरा
ଯାଉନି।
ओहो अच्छा तो अच्छा मु कौन कहूँ कि जो ओरिएंटलिस्ट जो आउ जो मॉडर्न स्टेट सिस्टम जो कि जो डिबेट जो बेसिकली इंडियन स्कॉलर्स जो मॉडर्न स्टेट सिस्टम रे जोटा कि तीन भाग रे मुख्यतः गले कौन तीन भाग जो रहे गोटे नियो गांधीयन क्रिटिक बाहर सॉवरेन स्टडी स्कूल और एंथ्रोपोलॉजिकल स्टडीज इन यूएसए से मन जो ये कले जे मॉडर्न स्टेट सिस्टम को से माने इंडिया रो ड्यूरिंग द ब्रिटिश राज कॉलोनियल टाइम से माने तांग भीतर जो माने नियो गांधीयन क्रिटिक रहिले आशीष नंदी होंतु वंदना शिवा होंतु कि हमरो वीणा दास होंतु एमाने कौन कले ना गांधीयन स्टेट को अपोज कले किंतु से किसी नेहरूवियन स्टेट को फॉलो करी से कौन कहले बेसिकली आशीष नंदी कहले कौन ना मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट रे गोटे मॉडर्न नेशन स्टेट गोटे होमोजेनाइजेशन टुवर्ड्स क्लोजर टुवर्ड्स कल्चरल जेनोसाइड जे गोटे मॉडर्न स्टेट सिस्टम टा गोटे कल्चरल जेनोसाइड आउ कौन होची ना से एटा होची यूटिलिटेरियन कॉन्सेप्ट को न नहीं कि ये रेजिमेंटलाइज करूची रिड्यूस करूची लाइफ को किसी लोगों को जीवन उपादेय आउ कौन इज डिफाइनेबल एंड नेगोशिएबल कैटेगरीज ए जो गांधीयन स्टेट को आशीष नंदी कहले मॉडर्न स्टेट सिस्टम रे ड्यूरिंग द कॉलोनियल रेजिमेंटेशन कॉलोनियलिज्म एबे एबे टिके सब जणा जाउची ना हेलो
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ସେ
हेलो
ପୁରା କଟି କଟି ହିଁ ଆବାଜ ଆସୁଛି। ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ଏଇଟା ମୁଁ କହିଲିନି କି ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ହଁ ଠିକ ମୁଁ ନହେଲେ କାଲି ଇଗ୍ନୋ ପଳେଇ ଯିବି ଇଗ୍ନୋରେ ତାଙ୍କର ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଅଛି ମୁଁ ଯେହେତୁ ମୋ ମୋବାଇଲ
ହଁ
ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡସେଟ ରୁ କରୁଛି ଏଇଟା ଟିକେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଥିବ ଆଉ ଏନିୱେ ତେଣୁ ମୋ କହିବା କଥା ଯୋଉ ନିଓ ଗାନ୍ଧିଆନ କ୍ରିଟିକ ଯୋଉମାନେ ଆଶିଷ ନନ୍ଦୀ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ବୀଣା ଦାସ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ କି ବନ୍ଦନା ଶିବା ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ଏମାନେ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ଦେଖିଲେ ଯେ the state system under the British colonial period is not a full-fledged one. It does not, emancipate everyone. It does not cover the, the unreached people and cover the entire society. So they differ here. Subaltern school of thought रे ସେମାନେ କଣ କହିଲେ ଯେ public appearance on this scene in the early 1980s, although begun in the late 70s. ସେମାନେ 19 subaltern school जे कहले कौन ना ସେମାନେ कहले the deprived, subaltern, the those who are in the countryside, those who are subaltern thinkers जो माने रहले दीपेश चक्रवर्ती, पार्थ चैटर्जी, सुदीप्त कविराज एमाने कहले कौन the subaltern group पहले ସେମାନେ जो सबमिट कले बोलते हिस्ट्री ऑफ द नेशन ସେମାନେ କହିବାକୁ ଚାହିଁଲେ ଯେ the subaltern as many as you know comes from the writings of the Italian Marxist Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci, the Italian Marxist scholar, Antonio Gramsci, Theory of Hegemony, जे कि लिखिथिले जे subaltern community जे दुनिया deprived sections of society सबले न्याय पावन the countryside सबल Thomas is distinguished from the more restrictive categories like class, subordinate, as I have already told. Sudipta Kaviraj and Deepesh Chandra, they all system. The British colonial strategy does not cover these the subaltern groups, the down to the deprived sections, the subordinated groups, and people to the ball. Indulge subordination in South Asian society, whether it is expressed in terms of class, caste, age, gender, and it is subordination. The जो subaltern group के कहले ना Ranjit Guha, another expert on subaltern philosophy. एमाने कहले modern British, the colonial state, the Gandhian perception of state, the Nehruvian state does not cover the entire, governance, democratization of governance is not there, and it does not cover, all class, caste, age, gender, and office. ତେଣୁ किछि सबऑर्डिनेशन ग्रुप्स deprived ହେଇଗଲେ from the mainstay of the governance and administration. ଶୁଭୁଛି ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ଶୁଭୁଛି ନା? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
हाँ हाँ सर।
Ranjit Guha, जे कि one of the leading proponents of subaltern school of thought, uh, opposed the Hinduism and the Orientalist view of Indian society as a static, timeless, spaceless, and internally undifferentiated monolith. Ranjit Guha, remember, Ranjit Guha, a leading proponents of the subaltern school of thought that opposed the modern state system under the colonial regimentation. Ranjit Guha कौन कहले ना से Ranjit Guha strongly vehemently oppose करचंती Indian जो the practice of happenings in Indian society, the governance system, the state system happening in India, as per the Hindu political tradition and the Orientalist view of Indian society. वह कहले कौन ना Indian society, the more under this the Hinduism and Orientalist view, more static, timeless, eternal. It cannot be called as the entirety of the state, and state dispensing, reaching out all categories of people, cutting across caste, class, gender, and age. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Then nationalism and colonial modernity. जो national जो colonialism समय British colonial rule, British imperialism समय जो state system exist कला, the British Indian state, the administration and the state system, most sustained and thoroughgoing examination of both colonial discourse and peculiar features of the what Partho Chatterjee has called our modernity has been carried out. Much of the later work of the Bernard Cohen himself and his students like Nicholas Dirks and Gyan Prakash too can be said to fall broadly within the same body of work. जो colonial nationalism concept এটা হচ্ছে পার্থ চ্যাটার্জী সবলটন গ্রুপ মানে এମାନଙ୍କୁ অপোজ করে এটা ସେମାନେ କହିବା କଥା ଯେ ଯେ এটা ଗୋଟେ elitist notion forced to articulate their politics in a condition of subjugation. କହିଲେ colonial nationalism जोटा कि हमें moderate हुअନ୍ତୁ extremely under Indian the banner of Indian National Congress under the leadership of Gandhi, Partho Chatterjee and Sudipta Kaviraj and Sunil Khilnani like people. They opposed it. The state, the concept of nationalism, they considered those who are the drivers of the colonial nationalism are the nationalist elite. ସେମାନେ କଣ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା they are more indulged in politics in the condition of subjugation where they simultaneously aspired to the principles of universality, equality and liberty embodied by the modern thought. से कहवा कथा सुदीप्त कविराज पार्थ चैटर्जी कहले जो modern the nationalism under the British rule and the elite nationalists like Gandhi, Nehru, Gokhale and Emanjo, the champion, this and the spearheaders of the nationalist movement. ଏମାନଙ୍କୁ subaltern scholars ମାନେ ଅପୋଜ କରିକି ସେ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଏମାନେ କ'ଣ ଦେ ଆର୍ ମୋର୍ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ତାଙ୍କର ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ନ୍ୟାସନାଲିଜିମଟା ଇଜ୍ ନଟ୍ ଅନ୍ ଦି ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ୍ ଅଫ୍ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସାଲିଟି ଇକ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଆଉ କ'ଣ ନା equality and liberty embodied in the modern political thought. ये जो nationalistic spirit, nationalism propounded under the British imperial rule, and the so-called the elite nationalists like Gandhi, Nehru, and Subhash Chandra Bose, Gokhale, and B.G. Tilak, and the early extremists and the moderates, including. So they were limiting the nationalism, concept of nationalism to a few elites, not how many it have called it a monolithic ideological formation, regimental, a concentrated military camp with Royal Body, many subjugation, vast majority लोगों subjugation में रखी, universal equality को deprive कराई, universal equality and liberty, ये modern political thought है जोटा कि ancient अच्छी बा embodied अच्छी, एटा को समाने honor करू नथिले, तेणु मूल भावे कहबा को गले the nationalistic elites and their ideology of nationalism, the ideas of nationalism propounded by them under the British regimental colonialism are vehemently opposed and challenged by the subaltern school of thought, Partha Chatterjee, Sudipta Kaviraj, Sunil Kilani and others. Se कहले कौन एटा गोटे complete society by nationalism टा नय. This is only for few. The political elites were looking at a very limited few, not the whole mass of the Indian mass. So, बुझा पड़ुछि ना? Hello?
हाँ हाँ सर.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any doubt? ये तो इतने vast माने चारिटा चैप्टर को 2 घंटा भीतर कवर करिबा. It's not a so it is quite cumbersome and Herculean, but still to आमे टिके ताकू जदी summarize करदबा. The concept of Orientalism, आमे जो एटा को जानिबा को चाहिले, and the questions of modernity and its colonial roots in India. Orientalist जो माने कहले Indian basic tradition, आउ केमिति Orientalist माने modernity को भी reject कले, ओ ground रे kind of modernity does not encompass the entire, so Indian society as a whole. But the Orientalist, they talks of the society as a whole. The modernity did not touch upon the entire fabric of the Indian society. जोटा कि तार colonial root रे रहिला. किंतु modernity oppose कला, the Orientalist माने Orientalists are not comprehensive and they are not all embracing and does not cover the entire society, people of the entire society as a whole. Kintu vice versa. This is a comparatively new field of study and has thrown up new revealing insights for both ex-colonies or colonies and their erstwhile colonial masters. Modernity hoji kono the subaltern Orientalist ଆଉ versus modernity. Orientalist माने oppose कले modernity को कारण modernity does not touch upon the entire fabric of their society. It is a relatively new discipline, ideas. The idea is that history of Europe alone cannot be a reference point when writing history. Oh my God, so many disruptions. Anyway, ତେଣୁ ସେମାନେ ଓରିଏଣ୍ଟାଲିଷ୍ଟ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ କେବଳ the ideas and history of Europe, ୟୁରୋପର ଯୋଉ ଧାରଣା ଆଉ ଇତିହାସ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ରେଫରେନ୍ସ ପଏଣ୍ଟ ହେଇପାରିବନି ଯେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଯୋଉ colonial regimentation, imperialism, imperial governance reinforce କରୁଛନ୍ତି ତେଣୁ the former independent state fall into the prey by the subjugated the colony under the British, the Europe. ସେ ତାର indigenous oriental approach to society and its polity and society କୁ ସେ କେବଳ ସେ ୟୁରୋପର ଆଇଡିଆ ଆଉ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକୁ ଦେଖିକି ରିରାଇଟ୍ କଲେ ଚଳିବ ନାହିଁ ତେଣୁ ସେମାନେ ତାକୁ ଅପୋଜ କଲେ এইটা ତମେ ହଉଛି ୟୁ ହାଭ୍ ଏ ଏଲିଟିଷ୍ଟ ନୋସନ୍ ୟୁରୋପ ଆରେ ଶୁଣ ମାନେ ୟୁରୋପର right to franchise to women came long after India gave freedom, I mean right to enfranchise the women. They are very coercive regimental society, not a democracy prevail in a true sense. ମାନେ ଯୋଉଭଳିଆ ଦୂର ପାହାଡ଼ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଆମେ କହୁଥିବା ଯେ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ and America there are more ମାନେ human rights are much more. America is the number one human rights violators of world. Even British also, I mean, of course, ଆମେ କହିପାରିବାନି ଯେ India has a very clean record because it's a diverse society, multicultural ethos. We do have a lot of diversion and regimentation, and we do not subscribe to that. So, ଆମେ ଏଠି କଣ ଦେଖିଲେ ମୁଁ ଆଲୋଚନା କଲି ନିଓ ଗାନ୍ଧିଆନ କ୍ରିଟିଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ସବଲ୍ଟନ ଷ୍ଟଡି ସ୍କୁଲ ୟୁଏସ୍ ବିନ୍ ଆନ୍ଥ୍ରୋପୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଷ୍ଟଡିଜ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଏଡୱାର୍ଡ ସେଲ୍ସ ଓରିଏଣ୍ଟାଲିଜମ have been examined. ଆଉ ଏଇଟା କେମିତି ଏ ସବୁ ମଡର୍ନ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମକୁ ଡିଫର କଲେ ଆଉ କେମିତି କମ୍ପ୍ରେହେନ୍ସିଭ ମାନରରେ ସୋସାଇଟିକୁ ଯେ କେବଳ ୟୁରୋପର ଆଇଡିଆଜ ଆଣ୍ଡ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି is not the decisive whole that can interpret the colonial society and polity. So the colonial society and polity, the colonies society and polity is much more also viable and emancipatory than the modern political modern state system and the colonial political philosophy. अच्छा ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ୟୁନିଟ୍ ସାଇଲେଣ୍ଟ ଫିଚର୍ସ ଅଫ୍ ମଡର୍ନ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଥଟ୍ ଟିକେ କାଲି ଟିକେ ଦେଖିବା ଏନି ଆମେ ଏବେ ଏବେ ଯୋଉ ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ କଲେ କିଛି ୟୁ ହାଭ୍ ଏନି ପଏଣ୍ଟ ଟୁ ଆଚ୍ଛା ସବୁ जो कोर्स वर्क जो गुड़ा देइछ जो कौन से असाइनमेंट दे चलन जो
हाँ सर
असाइनमेंट कोडे इग्नो ऑफिस से सबमिट करथिए
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ମୋର ଯୋଉ ସେଣ୍ଟର ସେଇଠି ମୁଁ ସବମିଟ୍ କରିଛି
हो कोडी आपन रीजनल आपन जो एग्जाम सेंटर আছে राइट तो एनी डाउट यू हैव हमें जा पर्यंत जति कवर कले आउ तो 2-3 मिनिट कवर करियो माने गोटे यूनिट ताको एनी नर्सल हमें तो कहबा any doubt you have any of you can any clarity to be
सर डाउट तो नहीं बट एक्चुअली मते क्लियर माने एक्चुअली मोर एपटू वॉइस क्लियर भी सुबा जाउनथिला सर
अच्छा अच्छा
एक्चुअली सर ମୁଁ ଯୋଉପଟେ ରହୁଛି ନା ସେଠି ବର୍ଷା ଫର୍ଷା ହଉଛି ନା ତ शायद ତା ଯୋଗୁ ନେଟୱାର୍କ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଇସ୍ୟୁ ବି ଏପଟେ
ମୁଁ
ହଉଥିବ।
ମୁଁ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଟିକେ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରେ ନାହିଁ ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ଆଉଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡର ତାର ଡେଥ୍ କେସ୍ ସେଟା ଆସିଛି ସେଟା ଟିକେ ତାଙ୍କର ରିମୋଟଲି ସିଚୁଏଟେଡ୍ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଇଣ୍ଟରନେଟ୍ ଆକ୍ସେସ୍ ବି ରହୁନି ଏନିୱେ ବଟ୍ ଦ ଥିଙ୍ଗ ଇଜ୍ ମୋ ଇଗ୍ନୋର ମୋ ନମ୍ବର ବି ନେଇପାରିବ କାରଣ ଆମର ନମ୍ବର କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ ନମ୍ବର ତାଙ୍କ ସହିତ ଅଛି ତେଣୁ ପଢ଼ିକି କେତେବେଳେ ପଚାର ଯାହା ମୋଷ୍ଟଲି ଏବେ ଟିକେ ଆମେ ସବୁ ପ୍ରିଅକୁପାଏଡ୍ ରହିଛୁ ଆଉ ଯେହେତୁ କାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଲଞ୍ଚ ହେଉଛି ଫ୍ରି ମେଡ଼ିକାଲ କୋଚିଂ 20 days ଗୋଟେ କ୍ରାସ୍ କୋର୍ସ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଆମର ସ୍କୁଲ ଆଣ୍ଡ ମାର୍କେଟ
ओके सर।
ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ତା ଦେହରେ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ରହିଛି ସେଥିପାଇଁ କାଲି ବି କ୍ଲାସଟା କେତେବେଳେ ଅଛି
सर ଏଇ ଟାଇମ ରେ ହିଁ 5ଟା ରୁ 7ଟା।
ସେ ମୋତେ କହୁଥିଲେ ଦୁଇରୁ 5 ନେବା ଲାଗି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ତ ସେଇ ସମୟରେ ଭାଲୁଏସନ୍ +2 ଭାଲୁଏସନ୍ ଚିଫ୍ ଏକ୍ଜାମିନର ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ କମଳା ନେହେରୁ ଓମେନ୍ସ କଲେଜ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ମୁଁ ଆଜି ଟିକେ ପଳେଇ ଆସିଛି ଏପଟକୁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଅର୍ଜେନ୍ସି ହେଲ୍ଥ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଇସ୍ୟୁ ନେଇକି ସାଙ୍ଗଟା ଡେଥ୍ ହେବା ପାଇଁ ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ କାଲି ଦେଖିବା ସେ କିନ୍ତୁ କାଲି ଯଦି ସେ ମାନସ ବେହେରାଙ୍କର କ୍ଲାସ୍ଟାକୁ ଆଡ଼ଜଷ୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି ଦେଖିବା କ'ଣ ହେଉଛି
ओके
ତେଣୁ ଆଚ୍ଛା ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି କାଲି ଟିକେ ପଢ଼ିଥିବ ଯଦି କିଛି ଡାଉଟ୍ ହେଇଥିବ ଆମେ ଯେଉଁ କଭର୍ କରିବା ହେଲା
हाँ सर।
ଓକେ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ
सर एक्चुअली ଆପଣଙ୍କ ନମ୍ବର ମତଲବ ଆମେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ କଲେଜରୁ ହିଁ ନବାକୁ ପଡିବ ନା ଅନଲାଇନ ମିଳିଯିବ ସାର୍?
ୟୁ ଅନଲାଇନ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦେୟାର ମାନେ ଇଗ୍ନୋର ଏଠୁ ବି ଦେଇଥିବେ ଆମର ଯେତିକି କାଉନସିଲର ମାନଙ୍କର ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ଫୋନ୍ ନମ୍ବର ଅଛି ବୋଲେ କାଲି କ୍ଲାସ୍ and you can write down my number no issue any time you have any doubt you can also that will be better because ଏତେ ସର୍ଟ ପିରିୟଡ଼ 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଭିତରେ 5ଟା ଚାପ୍ଟରକୁ କଭର କରିବା ଆମେ ନର୍ମାଲି ନର୍ମାଲ କ୍ଲାସରୁମ୍ରେ ଗୋଟେ ଘଣ୍ଟାରେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଚାପ୍ଟରର 1/4 ଆମେ କଭର କରୁଛୁ ଆଉ 4ଟା ଚାପ୍ଟରକୁ 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଭିତରେ ତାକୁ ଟିକେ ମାନେ ଜଷ୍ଟ ବେସିକ୍ ଇନଫ୍ରିଞ୍ଜ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଆଇଡ଼ିଆ ଦେବା କଥା ତାହେଲେ ଆପଣମାନେ କୋଉଠି ସବୁ କୋଉ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟରୁ କ'ଣ
ସାର୍
କହିଲେନି
ମୁଁ
ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ୍
ତ
କୋଉ
ଝାରଖଣ୍ଡରୁ ଅଛି।
ଓ ଆଇ ସି ଆଉ ଇତିଶ୍ରୀ
ମୁଁ
ମ୍ୟାମ୍
ଝାରଖଣ୍ଡରେ ରହିକି ମୁଁ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି କଟକ ଜେକେବିକେ କଲେଜରେ ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦଉଛି ସାର୍।
ଓ ରାଇଟ୍ ଆଚ୍ଛା ଦେଖେ ରାଇଟ୍ ଇତିଶ୍ରୀ ମ୍ୟାମ୍ କୋଉଠି ଅଛନ୍ତି
हेलो इतिश्री। संजीव।
संजीव जी
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
କ'ଣ କୋଉଠୁ
ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ଫ୍ରମ୍ ବାଲେଶ୍ୱର।
ବାଲେଶ୍ୱର
ଫକୀରମୋହନ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି।
ଓ ଆଇ ସି ଆଚ୍ଛା ଫକୀରମୋହନରେ କ'ଣ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ୍
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ପିଜି।
ଓ ଏଇଟା ପିଜି କରିସାରିକି ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଇଗ୍ନୋରେ
नहीं सर एटा पीजी क्लास है सेकेंड ईयर रा।
ସେକେଣ୍ଡ
ଓ
ଇୟର
ଆଇ
ସାର୍।
ସି ଓ ଫକୀରମୋହନ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି ଷ୍ଟଡି ସେଣ୍ଟର
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
हाँ सर।
ଓକେ ଓକେ
ବାଲେଶ୍ୱର।
ବାଲେଶ୍ୱର ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଫକୀରମୋହନ ମୋର ସାଙ୍ଗଟା ଅଛି ଅନିଲ ମହାପାତ୍ର ଅଛି ସେଠି ପ୍ରଫେସର
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ସେ ହେଡ୍ ଅଛି ବୋଧେ ସ୍କୁଲ ଅଫ୍ ସୋସିଆଲ ସାଇନ୍ସ ଆଉ ପ୍ରଫେସର ପଲିଟିକାଲ ସାଇନ୍ସ ଯାଇଛି ଫକୀରମୋହନ ବହୁତ ଥର ଯାଇଛି ବିଭିନ୍ନ କନଫରେନ୍ସକୁ ଯାଏ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି ତାହେଲେ ଆଜ୍ଞା ଏନି ଡାଉଟ୍ ମୋ ନମ୍ବରଟା ଯଦି ଲେଖିନିଅ ଏଇଟ୍
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ନାଇନ୍
ସାର୍।
ଏଇଟ୍
89
ନାଇନ୍
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ୱାନ୍
ସାର୍।
ସେଭେନ୍ ଟୁ
172
ଥ୍ରୀ 173 54 017 can someone read out hello
हाँ सर 8917
173
हाँ 17354 017।
right basically
ठीक
ଟିକେ
ଅଛି।
ହଁ Any doubt जोगुड़ा कि जेहेतु आमे पूरा सब कवर कर परिबानी. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. You can leave now.